Hi, the concept evaluation and test part one discussion is one where we talk about moving a product innovation charter, product idea forward or stopping. We want to be able to screen product ideas at this point before we start investing large amounts of money into the project, especially if the project is going to fail. So this short discussion really introduces the idea of why we want to evaluate product concepts at this time, and the idea that this product concept evaluation stage happens at two different levels. One, inside the firm, where we look at product concepts and their fit inside the organization. And then also at a second level, we want to take our product concept idea outside the firm and ask customers and consumers whether they think the product has merit. And we want to begin to measure at this point the actual potential sales and the forecasted demand for our product ideas. So that's what product evaluation or concept evaluation is at this point in time. And we're at a critical juncture in the product development process because up to this point, we have probably not spent a huge amount of money in terms of developing the actual product. But once we move forward, we're going to begin developing prototypes, and we're going to begin to source out the materials for the product, and we're going to design our factories and so forth. So moving forward, many products will experience a lot of cost encumbrances. So now is the time to do some real clear internal evaluating and external evaluating to best determine if we think that this product should move forward or if we should put it on the back end of the process and maybe move other product ideas forward that are more promising. In this segment, we're talking about concept evaluation, and so I wanted to take a little bit of time to specify where we are in the product development process. So we know that we begin the process with firm strategy and determining what would be best for the firm moving forward, particularly thinking about products as forms of cash flow and thinking about where the company might want to go in the future with their cash flows relative to their competition, and also considering where markets are and what markets might be attractive for the company to pursue. So after firm strategy, we spent some time identifying opportunities that the firm may be able to engage in. And if you recall, when we think about opportunities, we think about the resources and skills and technologies that the company has, which can overlap and provide a benefit or need that some market desires. And so where we have technologies and market desires merging together, we have potential opportunities for new products. That leads us into the product development stage where we're actually thinking about products that will meet the market need that we can do as a company, and we develop a product innovation charter at that point. So we move from firm strategy to identifying opportunities, then down here to developing product concepts. So now we're at the stage where we've done a lot of product development work already, but we're left with this idea that we have a concept of a product and we want to do some evaluating before we start putting real serious money into the actual product concept in the development phase. So we want to evaluate the concept. So once we have a PIC in hand, or several, we begin to evaluate our product concepts based on the merits of the concept, both internally and externally, inside the firm and outside the firm. So we're evaluating the concepts, and then if we're down here, we look at the concept tests and screens. So there's two things that we want to think about here. We want to think about inside the firm, we have a series of questions we can ask, whether, based on whether the product will satisfy, again, the firm strategy that we're looking for, but then also profitability measures within the firm, whether it makes sense within the firm to do the product. And there are specific scoring models that can be used to do this. Sometimes we call this the full screen. So that's one concept. The other thing that we want to look at here, the second element, is an external screen, and being able to tell from a market perspective the degree to which the market will buy our product, whether they'll accept it, and we want to be able to do some forecasting of sales based on the concept test externally. And then if everything looks good, we'll move the idea forward to development. But the key here is we want to be able to screen out the ideas that make the least amount of sense for us and retain the ideas for new products that are best. So the concept test, or the screening phase, is part of this evaluation setup here, where we're evaluating our concepts in order to be able to move forward in the product development process. And again, as we think internally, we want to stop product ideas that are less likely to succeed, and we want to proceed with those that are more likely to succeed. So if we have a decision here to make, we have two different concepts here. One is A, the product would fail if marketed, and then concept B, the product would succeed if marketed. We don't know with certainty what will happen to a product once it hits the commercialization stage. But we know that if the product is marketed properly, if it's advertised, if it reaches the right group of consumers, then the product's probably going to succeed. However, if we don't do any of those things, the product may fail. So there's always a risk of failure in product development. And so here we could choose, since this is a stage gate process, we could actually choose to stop the product development process. And clearly, if the product's going to fail once commercially made, then we want to stop it now so that we don't move forward. The other option is we can move the product forward, product concept idea forward. We can continue to invest in it. But if the product's going to fail in the marketplace, which we don't know, but if it does fail in the marketplace, then that's a big error. However, if we choose to move the product on to the next level, and the product would ultimately succeed, then that's the right decision to make there. So basically, we've got this decision matrix going on where we look at the diagonals, and if we can, if it's possible, we want to be able to stop a project now if the likelihood is very high that it's going to fail in the marketplace. Or we want to continue with the product concept if we think it will continue to be successful in the marketplace. These are the correct decisions, and so the screening process at this point in time is one where we want to be able to make this decision, either the AA or the BB, and we want to avoid these cross diagonals BA or AB types of mistakes. So moving forward, we know that as we create the product innovation charter, our goal is to be able to move forward good ideas, but also exclude ideas that are less likely to be successful and take up our resources that we would otherwise place in other parts of our company. So at this point in time, we want to think about different ideas that are associated with our product that would be clearly ones that we would eliminate as a result of this process. So if we have a product idea, but we do not have the technology or the skill set to actually create the product, that's a good internal screening question to say, or benchmark to say that product idea is probably something we're not ready to do yet, and we should eliminate. Also, we know that there are certain customers that we serve particularly well. If this product would enter into a new market that we don't really understand well, or a new group of consumers we don't understand well, then it would probably be less likely to be successful. So that's another reason why we eliminate it. Other ideas that are either way too innovative, maybe the market's not ready for, or we as a firm are not ready for, things that would be difficult for us to create because it's so radically new for us. That would be an internal indicator that this product idea is not good for us. Or other elements that are business related, such as there's not a cost effectiveness for us to be able to offer the product. Maybe our margin on the product, if we were to produce it and sell it, would be too small. Certainly that would be an issue, and other competitors, if we can't distinguish ourselves from our product from other competitors, and so on, then the business model associated with the product may not be right for us. So that's a big takeaway here from an internal perspective. It may not be a product that we want to move forward because it might not be the right product for us. It may, on the market side, actually be a good product, but if we can't pull it off and if we can't produce it ourselves, then we need to pass on that idea and adopt an idea that would be more appropriate for us as a firm to be able to do. Okay, so there are several reasons then to continue on with our evaluations at this point before we even produce the product or the prototypes or get too much further into the research and development. We want to make sure that we're able to produce the product with quality. So poor concepts that buyers don't want to have from a quality perspective, we can go ahead and eliminate those ideas. Different product features that can or cannot be changed down the road may affect the level of quality that we're able to offer. So quality is actually a very important element to most buyers when they purchase a product. And if we're not able to, if we don't have the technology or if we don't have the production capacity or the production ability to produce a quality product that the customers would want, then that may be a game ender for us in terms of that particular product. We want to also consider how much time we're going to have to spend on producing the product. We know this concept of cycle time exists. So cycle time is the amount of time on the calendar it takes to have an idea, from the time it takes to have an idea to when we can actually launch the idea into the marketplace. So the product development process is actually measured by cycle time. And as we're considering a product, we'll have some products that we could launch sooner or faster or quicker than other products, potentially. And so if the new product idea is being evaluated and looks like it's going to take a long time to develop, the more time we spend developing, the more cost it's going to be to do so. And we also allow competitors to come into the marketplace as well and possibly take market share from us while we're spinning our wheels trying to produce the product. Okay, so a long cycle times could be a red flag for us to consider. Cost savings, another consideration internally. So we know that there are costs associated with new product development process. And if you begin the process and continue on a product that's not maybe a strong product or has a risk of failure or whatnot, every step we take carrying a product idea forward in the product development process adds cost to the bottom line of producing the good. So if you're willing to let a bad idea go early, then you're saving a ton of money that you otherwise would be spending in development costs. So there's a cost curve then that you need to consider in the product development process. Eliminating bad product ideas now then lets you focus or refocus funding and resources into other good ideas or other parts of your business. Moreover, when we start to do the concept test, we'll actually have data that suggests demand for a product, and that data then can be used as a sales forecast, and so we can actually put real numbers to our ideas and our thoughts, and maybe a payback period that we would expect to see if we were able to launch the product moving forward. So, so number of reasons why here then it would give us reason or pause to eliminate a product idea. Another one here is marketing strategy formation, right? So doing these tests and doing these screens help us identify what our marketing strategy will be. And more importantly, if the strategy we need to use to launch this new product is significantly different from what we currently are involved in, then that might be a reason for us to be cautious moving forward in a screening sense. And again, these are all internal screening questions in the concept test phase before we begin development. So by eliminating bad ideas now, we're saving a lot of cost, and we're making sure that the product that we are producing fits into the strategy of the firm. A concept that is initiated right after the PIC is developed is something called a market analysis. So it's an in-depth study of the market for which the PIC is specifically designed for. Okay, and again, this is the market analysis step is actually a little mini step that we do during evaluation, during the concept evaluation or concept test phase, where we analyze the specific market that the product will be launched into. We're looking for the initial reaction of the marketplace based on the concept that we're putting forward. And there's a couple things to remember as we're looking for initial reactions. We want to have our ideas brought out with a lot of thought, forethought, and consideration. What we don't want is knee-jerk reactions, like to our product internally. But we want it to be well thought out from a business model perspective. And so we want to avoid what they call the bazooka effect, where we have lots of ideas that are put out there within the firm, and many of them really don't have merit, but we start considering them just because they were put out there. So it's like a shotgun effect, if you will, or a knee-jerk reaction effect when we have lots of ideas that are put out there. And they tend to distract, and we want to avoid those types of distractions. And we want to get really, really focused right now on the best ideas that we can move forward into the development phase. Okay, so initial reaction becomes important. We want to make sure that we're building up ideas and that we're building towards a goal in the initial reaction phase. So it's not just kind of as it mentions here, a pure intuition or a gut feel for what we think will be a good idea. When we start to begin to do the market analysis, we want to actually measure some of the reaction that consumers have to our proposed product, especially in regards to other products that are out there in the marketplace. Okay, so moving forward then, some ideas we want to get to as we are internally evaluating the product. We want to think about what this product and product line will be worth to us from a business model perspective. So what's the market worth? And what is the attractiveness of this new product relative to the targeted customer or targeted market that we're going to have? So do the customers, will they benefit, and to what extent will they benefit by having this new product option available to them in the marketplace? There's a concept out there called consumer welfare. And consumer welfare is really focused on the good the social good that the product provides the community or the culture or the marketplace as a whole. And so if you bring this new product out into the marketplace and it really doesn't add value to the market, then the market worth really isn't sufficient. It's not strong. So we want to make sure that our product adds something to the mix of products that are already out there so that the overall benefit to the community and to the marketplace is enhanced through this notion of consumer welfare. We also have the notion that the product has to be profitable. Right? It has to be profitable. It has to fit into, strategically what we're doing as a firm. So there's firm worth there. And in doing so, we'll be able to use a new product within a strategy that insulates us or protects us from competition. So we actually use product development as a competitive tool to either fend off competition or maybe steal market share from competition. But product development in this sense, we ask the question, how is this product going to help us strategically relative to our competition? So these are ideas that we want to get to as we're beginning to evaluate the concept with the firm in mind and also with the customer marketplace in mind as well. So simply stated, this segment talks about concept evaluation and that risk matrix, the idea of moving a good idea forward that has a high probability of being a success in the marketplace versus stopping a product idea now that is likely to or has a high probability of not succeeding in the marketplace. Those two decisions, or the decision to keep the product moving forward or stopping it now, can lead to good things. The mistake happens in two ways. One, if you decide to bring a product forward at this point and the product ultimately is canceled or gets canned or fails in the marketplace, then you're wasting a lot of money that could have been spent on R&D. The other big mistake, though, not to lose sight of, is the idea that is if you stop a product idea and the product idea would have been successful, then we're missing a big opportunity. We're leaving money on the table. We're not taking advantage of some marketplace issue that we could have provided a product for, a void in the marketplace that we could have filled because we stopped the product idea process early. So from a manager standpoint, this is a balancing act that we have to make between bringing a product forward or keeping it back. But the product concept testing phase, which we're in right now, helps us think through this process a little bit more. And that wraps up this little section on concept testing and internal testing and lays the groundwork for the rest of the concept testing phase.